Welcome back to the 10-year anniversary Octothorpe Redesign series. Today we are going to run you through versions 6 through 8 of the new Octothorpe. Version 6, we didn't change a lot. We added volume to all the pockets in the front of the putter pocket, went a little overboard with the volume in the cell phone pocket, which meant that the cell phone popped out on me a couple times when I was bending over to pick up a disc and I had the bag on. So we're going to have to taper that back in a little bit. The other thing we did was move the attachment points, the additional attachment points, from lower on the putter pocket up to basically where they were with the original Octothorpe. It's a nice spot because the towels won't hang in between the body and the bag as much. So like these here, but still kind of figuring out the D-ring and attachment points. Finally, the thing we did in V6 is we tapered the entire bottom of the bag away from the body when it came to these corners. So we had done that with the foam piece that was in the bottom of the structure of V5, but we had actually left the bottom itself a square. We just tapered the foam that we were inserting in the bottom. And so this bottom itself is actually tapered away from the body as it moves to these corners of the sides. The other thing that was nice about that is it decreased what we call the seam allowance, or the perimeter of the bottom. And because it decreased that seam allowance, it allowed us to taper the sides in a little bit, which was really nice because the hull pockets were kind of freakishly wide and big on a lot of the previous versions. So aesthetically and functionally, they're quite a bit nicer, and I'm liking where they're at now. V7. V7, one of the other things I still wasn't completely happy with was the proportionality of the bag aesthetically in terms of the putter pocket just feeling like it was too tall. And so we took 5/8 of an inch out of the height of the putter pocket here, and 3/8 of that we added to the height of the bottom of the main compartment, which is nice. It just means the discs nest a little bit deeper in the main compartment. And then we had an additional 1/4 inch left over that we added to the height of the main compartment itself. Made the discs easier to get in and out, especially towards the edges. And you know, that is sort of a minor thing that people have talked about with the Octothorpe is that, and with the Rufus too, is that discs at the edges of the bag are harder to get in and out. They fight you a little bit, but part of that is a result of this extra strip of fabric that we have here, which is very much so on purpose. So what this strip of fabric does is it keeps the zipper off of the seam where the side framing runs into. If we had run the zipper right into this seam like some other companies do, the problem with that is it creates a lot of wear on the zipper itself, and then you got to end up replacing that down the line. So we're avoiding that right out of the gates. We always have made the design that way. So that's something that we're really happy though that we kind of were able to add a little bit of height to this main compartment, this main opening, to make it a little bit easier to get the discs in and out. We played around with the structure in the bottom on this one, and ultimately we weren't super happy with it either, but I'll touch on that in V8. The other thing we did is we moved the D-rings all together from the load lifters back to the OG spot. Honestly, on the load lifters, not only do towels tend to fall in between the body a little bit more easily, but with the adjustable height putter pocket, they were more of an issue there as well, because when you have the putters in the high position, the D-rings kind of fell behind the putters, which was kind of annoying. So we put them in the spot. I know a lot of you have been asking us for that anyway, so there you go. Finally, the other really cool thing that we're excited about that we added is a disc retriever protection system. So the way we have it right now is there's just a piece of Velcro on this D-ring loop. So you can just push the D-ring to the top basically. And then this Velcro just lives tucked up inside, which is nice. And you just open it up and then Velcro it closed. And what that does is that protects the zipper that sits behind the disc retriever. When we originally designed the Octothorpe, and even the updates we did about 5 years ago, we never intended for this elastic to be for a disc retriever. Disc retrievers weren't really that popular up until more recently. But disc retrievers, the metal body of the retriever can move back and forth on the zipper, and it actually wears the teeth of the zipper down to the point where they are stitched on at the factory at YKK, and then they come off that backing tape and you gotta replace the zipper. So super excited about this. This should prevent any wear on zippers for people that wanna put a disc retriever in their bag. V8. V8's getting closer, for sure. V8, we tweaked the putter pocket even more. So what we did, V7, because we had taken 5/8 of an inch out of that, the phone was sitting up a little bit higher. We wanted to be able to, the phone to sit as deep as possible in this pocket. And so what we did is we added a curve to the bottom of the putter pocket here. Aesthetically, I actually really like how that turned out. And at the apex of this curve, we actually gained 3/4 of an inch in the bottom of this pocket. So the apex of the curve, right here is 3/4 of an inch lower than it was in version 7, which is not even that noticeable, but added a lot of depth to this pocket, which is great. So I'm loving that. The other thing we did with V8 is we shortened the D-ring web. The web was just a little long, so the D-rings were flopping around, and we improved the disc retriever system even more. So I'll show you now. It's actually, the Velcro isn't on the D-ring loop because we shortened that so much. And on both sides, not just on one side, you've got this disc retriever system where you can just pull that down and pop it over that Velcro, and then you can take a disc retriever and slide it in that elastic, and it will protect the disc retriever from rubbing on the zipper in that whole area where the disc retriever extends out of that long pocket. The other big thing that we did for V8 is we took all the structure out of the bottom, and it's super comfortable and is very stable, and super happy with that. We were kind of at the point where we just weren't gonna pursue a structured bottom anymore. And then we had another idea. And the other idea was